Coming at you live from John P. Stevens High School, an overview of the 1950s. Thomas E. Dewey was a Republican candidate in the 1948 election. He was running against Harry S. Truman. Everybody thought that Truman lost, but in the end, Truman won and became the president of the U.S. for the 1950s. None other than the famous Joseph McCarthy came to power in 1950s, and he tried to make the public fear communism. He ruled out many figures such as those in Hollywood to be communists. Most of these claims are false. J.D. Salinger's famous Catcher in the Rye book was published. It contained a lot of choice, bold language, and swear words. Many people were suffering from the infamous polio virus that caused paralysis. A cure to this was found by Jonas Edward Salk. And here is Elvis Presley, a singer and dancer who made girls swoon with his hips. Who do you guys think is better? Disneyland had its grand opening in 1955. The park was not that popular back then, but it is very popular now, as you know. The 1950s symbolized birth of the war on segregation. This group, called the Little Rock Nine, fought their way to attend an all-white high school in Little Rock, Arkansas. Rosa Parks stood up to a white man asking for her seat on a bus in Alabama. She was jailed, but she prompted a bus boycott. Oh my god, look, they're showing a little bit of ankle. How scandalous. How could they? Women's fashion in the 1950s was seen changing as they wore more loud and colorful clothing. This prompted a change in roles because they wanted to be viewed as louder, more bold. This brings us to the beautiful Marilyn Monroe. She was an actress in the 1950s who often took on the role of dumb blonde, but she was definitely not a dumb blonde. In fact, she was a brunette. She promoted topics such as sex and women's rights. One of her famous quotes was, "A girl doesn't need anyone who doesn't need her." Very feministic. Rock and roll! Sorry guys, wrong kind of rock and roll. Wait, how about this? And here is some old-time dancing. Well, this is not very common in the clubs today, is it? In 1954, the first human kidney was transplanted. This was deemed a medical miracle. The Soviet Union versus America. Two of the world's strongest nations would be fighting each other to see who was more capable, who was able to accomplish more in the world, who would eventually become the lone superpower. On October 4th, 1957, Russia launched Sputnik, the world's first artificial satellite and the world's first object man-made to be placed in space. Would the US take this? The answer is no, they definitely would not. The US launched their own first satellite in 1958, the Explorer 1. This is the US Science California Center celebrating this new achievement. Apart from trying to one-up the Soviet Union, the US did much more on its own soil. Ah yes, the wonderful box of joy that provides us with so much entertainment. Warning, this might be your grandma's favorite show.
Finally, she couldn't stand it and she said, "Go
Since Americans were watching more than 5 hours of TV a day, I think we became a bit lazier. And that's what's the perfect time to introduce McDonald's. It was fast, it was cheap, and it was fried, so it was unhealthy. What else can you want from life, man? Cheap and unhealthy? Bring it right here. I'll eat it. Unfortunately, fatty food combined with lots of TV caused the average American to become chubbier and prompted mean body-shaming commercials such as this. Well, we want our food and we want it fast. And thus, drive-thrus came about in the US so people could just drive by a fast food restaurant and get whatever burgers, fries, shake they wanted. Cheap and efficient. The 1950s called for a booming economy, and the people of America were happy. More happy people called for more babies in the US, and thus this was the start of the baby boom era. As the middle class grew, the American people decided that they wanted to move into suburbs as they provided more affordable homes. The homes might have looked similar, but the things inside sure didn't, and therefore the idea of keeping up with the Jonases came about. Keeping up with the Jonases meant buying all the new appliances of the day to prove that you were better than your neighbor, and there were many new appliances. Such as the toaster oven, which clearly people were very excited about. The washing machine. The stove. And the refrigerator. Though many of these appliances existed before the 1950s, they were improved and became more popular for the public to use. Cars also became big in the 1950s. Popular models included the Ford, the Chevrolet, and my most favorite, the Cadillac. And now, to review what we learned in this video. The topics covered were the presidential election, McCarthyism, singers and songwriters and dancers such as Chuck Berry and Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe, women's rights, women's fashion, black rights, and also McDonald's, infrastructure, the baby boom, the war on the Soviet Union, rather against the Soviet Union, cars, new appliances, and keeping up with the Jonases. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope it helped you learn a lot more about the 1950s than you already knew.